Hello and welcome to Cabbala and Cognac, where the Cabbala comes before the Cognac. We're going to be ברוכים הבאים לקבלה וקונייק, שהקבלה בא לפני הקונייק, אבל היום אנחנו לא שותים קונייק, שותים גרפה. גרפה זה חריף עשוי מענבים, זה מהמזקקת רמת הגולן, שזה קראפט דיסטילרי, בוטיק, מזקקה בוטיק ברמת הגולן, שעושה כל מיני שתיות חריפות. בבקשה לשתות באחריות. שתייה, כתוב פה, הזוהר, צריכה מופרזת של אלכוהול מסכנת חיים ומזיקה לבריאות, אמת. אז סע באחריות. Well, זה טוב. Okay, this is grappa from the Golan Heights Distillery. They're not really sponsoring this, but I am using it to drink with. Anyhow, so we'll more about that later. Just it's very good with a little bit of water. So you take a little grappa. It's 45%. It's more. It's pretty strong. 45% alcohol. זאת אומרת שזה רובו מים, 55% מים. ברוך אתה ה' אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. טעים ביותר. אומרים שזה קצת טוב עם קצת מים, לפתוח את הטעם, בוא נראה. לא, אבל הדבר החשוב, אני לא יודע. I love it! It tastes great! Shouldn't have put that water in. Anyhow, it's a very fine grappa. And it's very important when you drink hard liquor to drink a lot of water. For every little shot, every shot you have like a glass 12 ounces or more, I don't know, 200 cc's or more of water. Under the hot Middle Eastern sun, you got to keep hydrated. This is not the part of the world here in Israel for drinking alcohol, except on cool, rainy winter days. Anyhow, so that's the Golan Heights Distillery and their grappa. Now, they have also a single malt whiskey. יש להם whiskey זן אחד. זה רק אחד משני מזקקות בארץ, בכל הארץ כולו של ארץ ישראל, שעושה ויסקי וזן אחד, סינגל מולט. אז גולן הייטס דיסטילרי. עכשיו אנחנו נקרא את הפרשה, חלק מפרשת השבוע, ויצא בעברית מהחומש, אחר כך תרגום לאנגלית עם קצת הסבר, אחר כך אנחנו עוברים לארמית של הזוהר, ואחר כך התרגום לאנגלית של הזוהר. ובסוף נקרא פירוש הסולם על הזוהר, שזה כתוב בעברית, מי שמבין עברית יכול לספוג משהו משמעותי מזה, יש הרבה מונחים טכניים, אז צריך להתרגל ללשון, לרעיונות שלו, אבל לאט לאט אפשר לספוג את זה, אנחנו רק קוראים, אתה סופג ואתה רושם שאלות, ואפשר בקומנטס לשאול שאלות וכל זה. אז בואו נתחיל. Now we're going to read the parsha in Hebrew and then read the English translation from the Living Torah by Aryeh Kaplan. One of the, in my opinion, the best Chumash and commentary in English. Has a lot of information from the world. It's very concise. Like you have a word. I'll give you an example from the parsha when I see it. You have one word. You don't know what it means. He uses a word such as he translates as give him special attention. Wait a second. No, let's go to Vayetze. Sarah told it Vayetze. Okay, here we go. Well, I'll give you an example as we go. First, we're just going to read the Aliyah second aliyah, divide the parsha into 7 aliyahs, 7 sections. So the parsha is chapter 28 of Genesis. Let's get right into it. We're at the end of chapter 28 of Genesis, starting chapter 29 in the second reading. We're starting chapter 29. והנה, okay. וישא יעקב רגליו וילך ארצה ונקדם וירא והנה באר השדה והנה שם 3 עדרי צאן רובצים עליה כי מן הבאר ההיא ישקו העדרים והאבן גדולה על פי הבאר ונאספו שמה כל העדרים וגללו את האבן מעל פי הבאר והשקו את הצאן והשיבו את האבן על פי הבאר למקומה ויאמר להם יעקב יעקב אחי מאין אתם ויאמרו מחרן אנחנו. He says my brothers ויאמר להם יעקב אחי מאין אתם ויאמרו מחרן אנחנו ויאמר להם הידעתם את לבן בן נחור ויאמרו ידענו ויאמר להם השלום לו ויאמרו שלום והנה רחל ביתו באה עם הצאן ויאמר הן עוד היום גדול ולא עת האסף מקנה השקו הצאן ולכו ראו ויאמרו לא נאכל עד אשר יאספו כל הדרים וגללו את האבן מעל פי הבאר והשכינו הצאן. I'm going to read that again. ויאמרו לא נאכל עד אשר יאספו כל הדרים וגללו את האבן מעל פי הבאר והשכינו הצאן עודנו מדבר עמנו ורחל באה עם הצאן אשר לאביה כי רואה היא ויהי כאשר ראה יעקב את רחל בת לבן אחי אמו ואת צאן לבן אחי אמו ויגש יעקב ויגל את האבן מעל פי הבאר וישק את הצאן לבן אחי אמו וישק יעקב לרחל וישק יעקב לרחל ויישא את קולו ויבך ויגד יעקב לרחל כי אחי אביה הוא כי בן רבקה הוא ותרץ ותגד לאביה. Read it again. Every time I make a mistake, I'm going to read it again. ויגד יעקב לרחל כי אחי אביה הוא וכי בן רבקה ויגד יעקב לרחל כי אחי אביה הוא וכי בן רבקה הוא ותרץ ותגד לאביה ויהי כשמוע לבן את שמה יעקב בן אחותו וירץ לקראתו ויחבק לו וינשק לו ויביאהו אל ביתו ויספר ללבן את כל הדברים האלה ויאמרו לו לבן אח עצמי ובשרי אתה וישב עמו חודש ימים ויאמר לבן ליעקב אחי אתה ועבדתני חינם הגידה לי מה משכורתך וללבן 2 בנות שם הגדולה לאה ושם הקטנה רחל ועיני לאה רכות ורחל הייתה יפת תואר ויפת מראה. I think that's the end of it. So when we end the aliyah, בסוף aliyah הטעם המקרא הזה שונה. ועיני לאה רכות ורחל הייתה יפת תואר ויפת מראה. Okay, we're going to read in English now. What did I just read? I'll tell you. Jacob set off briskly and he headed towards the land of the people of the east. He just saw God at Jacob's ladder and he just made a deal with God. You give me food and clothing and I will give you, you will be my God and I'll give you a tithe, 1/10 of everything I have. Be with me, protect me on my journey, And we said before that in one respect, he was making a deal when you read that verse just before we started reading in Hebrew, if God will be with me, if he protects me on the journey I'm taking, if he gives me bread to eat and clothing to wear, and if I return in peace to my Father's house, then I will dedicate myself totally to God. That sounds very much like a condition. That's the way Rashi explains it. Literally, it's just God will be my Lord. It's basically Rashi. He offers Rashi as the one saying it's a condition, and perhaps you could translate it not as a condition, but just a statement of fact. So let's look back at that verse. Vayered Yaakov, Vayidar Yaakov neder. This is an oath, not a deal with God, but he's just making an oath. Vayidar Yaakov neder. Lemor im ye Elohim imedi u'shmarani b'derech hazeh asher anochi holech natan li lechem lechol v'eged lilbosh v'shavti b'shalom el beit avi v'haya Adonai li le'Elohim v'evan azot asher. So he's making a nether as opposed to making a deal. He's saying I will do such and such a thing. That's that. It's making a vow. Taking a vow. Vow or oath, I forget which is this, shavua, nether, whatever. He's promising to do something, and Rashi says no. It's a condition. Do this. You protect me, give me food and clothing, and I will dedicate myself to you, give you 1/10 of all my stuff, and you will be my God. So okay, let's go on. Jacob set. So that's what happened. Now Jacob, after this incident, he sets off briskly and heads towards the land of the people of the east. He came to a place where he saw a well in a field. 3 flocks of sheep were lying beside it, since it was from this well that the flocks were watered. The top of the well was covered with a large stone. When all the flocks would come together there, the shepherds would roll the stone from the top of the well and water the sheep. Then they would replace the stone on the well. Some shepherds were already there. From where do you come, brothers? Asked Jacob. We are from Haran. Do you know Nahor's grandson, Lavan? We know him. Is he doing well? Well enough. Here's his daughter Rachel, coming with the sheep. But it's still in the middle of the day. It's not yet time to bring the livestock together. Why not water the sheep and go on grazing? Asked Jacob. They said back to him, we can't until all the flocks have come together. You have to show up, and because we need more people, all of us roll the stone from atop the well. And only then can we water the sheep. The stone's big. It takes all of us. We have to wait till we all get together. When he was still conversing with them, then Rachel appeared with her father's sheep. She was the shepherdess. Jacob looked at his cousin Rachel, who was with his uncle Lavan's sheep. He stepped forward and he rolled the stone from the top of the well, watering his uncle Lavan's sheep. He saw the girl that his intended, his future wife, and he's like the strong man. He says, you don't need everybody to do it. I'll do it myself. And with his great strength, he moved that huge giant stone off the top of the well up there in Haran, up there in Kurdistan. So Jacob kissed Rachel and wept aloud. He told her that he was Rivka's son and that he was related to her father, that they were cousins. She ran to tell her father that Rivka was Lavan's sister. So it's interesting that, with this whole thing, you can't kiss a woman in modern life, in modern religious life. You're not permitted to kiss a woman you're not married to, or I guess a family member. Not touching a woman, it's the Orthodox law of Shomer Negiah. And we have here Jacob kissing Rachel. So that's, is there a family? I don't know. But that's very beautiful. Okay. Anyhow, when Laban, very sweet. When Laban heard, the question is why they wept. Because of family reunion, they're crying. The Shlomo Carlebach says about this that she saw in a vision. I think it's from the Rashi. You have to open the Rashi. That Vayishak Rachel Vayevk. that they were crying over, she saw in a vision the destruction of the temple. I'm going to look at that Rashi, hold on. Kaftet, we're learning Pasuk Kaftet, that's chapter 29, verse 11, Yud Aleph. Kaftet Yud Aleph. Vayishak Yaakov l'Rachel vayisa et kolo vayev. He cried. Vayev, k'lefi she'tzafa b'ruach hakodesh she'ena nichneset imo l'kvora. Why were they crying? Because Jacob saw with his prophetic vision of the future, that he would not be buried together with his beloved wife Rachel, Rachel. So he cried. Another explanation. Sheba b'yadayim rekaniot. He came for his intended, and you should bring all kinds of good stuff for his wife to be and his father-in-law to be. And what? He has nothing. He's being chased away from his brother wants to kill him. He only has time to put a shirt on and maybe grab a flask of water or something like that. And, all he has is the clothes on his back, basically. He runs away from his brother who was this mamish kill him, who knows how to kill people. And so he has nothing. It's like he's sad. That's why he cried. Amar Eliezer Eved Avi, etc., etc. But I guess there's another medrash about seeing the destruction of the temple and crying at that moment. That the children that would come from this union, the 12 tribes, and then the tribe of Judah with King David and King Solomon, and then the generations later. In the year 562 before the Common Era, that would be under the reign of, I think, sorry, my history is not so good, but under the kings of Judah would have to see the destruction of the temple, and then the first temple, and then the destruction of the second temple, in the days of Yochanan ben Zakkai. Their descendants that would come, and what would happen. So that's another reason to cry. So the temple that we mourn every day, and we will merit to see built, in its tifarto, bringing light into the world, bringing peace into the world, and there will be a consciousness of peace and love in the world for all the nations, and that's what the temple is all about. And I don't know when it's going to happen. Could happen today. Could happen 1,000 years from now, but it'll happen at the right time. So let's go back to the text. He kissed Rachel and wept. He told her that he was Rebekah's son. So when Laban heard the news that Jacob had arrived, he ran to greet him. He embraced and kissed him. He brought him home. Jacob told Laban all that had happened. Yes, indeed, you are my flesh and blood, said Laban. Jacob remained with him for a month. Laban then said to Jacob, just because you are my close relative, does it mean you must work for me for nothing? I'll give you a job. I'll pay you, Laban said to Jacob. So the Laban had two daughters. The older one was Leah, and the younger one was Rachel. Leah had lovely eyes, while Rachel was shapely and beautiful. So his lovely eyes. That's the Targum Yonatan, and the Tur says lovely eyes. What's the word in Hebrew? Ve'ene Leah rakot. That doesn't mean lovely. That means lovely is like a different word. Rakotsi means soft, right? Rakot, weak or sensitive. So others translate weak eyes or sensitive eyes, but the Targum, it just says Targum. I assume it's Targum Yonatan or Onkelos, and the Torah says lovely eyes. So now we're going to go to the Zohar. So let's read now we're going to read the Zohar a bit. How much time do I have, Ariel? 3 minutes of Zohar. Whoa. So we'll just do a little bit of the Zohar because it's a short class today. I could go till 5 minutes to.
Well, then 7 minutes.
What? Okay.
That's 7 minutes.
That's till 5 minutes to the hour. So we're skipping ahead. We said that Jacob came across a well in the field when he approached Haran in the city in Aram Naharaim, which is modern day Kurdistan, southern Turkey, northern Iraq. So okay, but parsha Sulam say pechet b'parshat Vayetze. V'ra v'hine be'er sadeh. I'm going to read it just in the Hebrew, not in the Aramaic. And afterwards we'll turn to the English translation. Rabbi Yehuda patach v'amar mizmor David. This is ma'amar vayar v'hine be'er b'sadeh. Rabbi Yehuda patach v'amar mizmor leDavid b'varcho mipnei Shaul v'chulei. Mikra ze heiru bo chachamim. כלומר, כבר דיברו בו ובערוהו. אבל קשה מזמור לדוד שפירושו שאמר שירה. למה אמר שירה? למה דוד אמר שירה? אם משום שבנו הוא שקם עליו, שבנו הוא שקם עליו, if he's singing because his son rose up against it, ולא זר. משפחה שלו קם נגדו, ולא מישהו מחוץ, אז למה שהוא שר? זה דבר נורא. כי בנו ירחם עליו, וזר אינו מרחם. שבנו צריך לרחם עליו, וזר אינו צריך לרחם עליו. זה טבעי. כי עוד היה צריך להיות לו קינה יותר גדולה, כי אדם מתמרמר יותר על רעה מועטת מידי קרוביו, מי שמתמרר על רע מרובה מידי אחרים. הוא משיב, אז עוד פעם, זה מזמור לדוד ברכו מפני שאול. Tehillim chapter Nun, chapter 50 in Tehillim. מדובר על תהילים פרק נון, שכתוב מזמור מברכו מפני אבשלום בנו. הוא כתב את המזמור הזה, בברכו מפני אבשלום בנו. אבשלום רצה להרוג את האבא שלו, דוד המלך. אז למה הוא אומר שירה? זה הבן שלו רוצה להרוג אותו סך הכל. כי אדם מתמרמר יותר על רע מועטת מידי קרוביו, מי שמתמרר על רעה מרובה מידי אחרים. הוא משיב, אלא מזמור לדוד פירושו שאמר שירה, כי כן רצה דוד, שמקודם לכן חשב שהקדוש ברוך הוא יענישו על חטאיו בעולם הבא. כיוון שראה שכאן בעולם הזה רוצה להיפרע ממנו, היה שמח ואמר שירה. הוא אמר, הטוב שאני מקבל את העונש, זה כפרה גדולה, הבן שלי רוצה להרוג אותי, אבשלום רוצה להרוג אותי, אז זה... איזה כפרה יש לי, כי אם זה עונש שלי, עונש הבן שלי רוצה להרוג אותי, אז אני מקבל את זה בעולם הזה ושמח עליו שאני לא צריך לקבל את זה בעולם הבא, כי העולם הזה זה זמני ועולם הבא נצחי. אז פתת. ועוד טעם, כי דוד ראה שחשובים ממנו היו בעולם. חשובים ממנו, אנשים יותר חשובים ממנו, היו בורחים וכולם לבדם, יעקב ברח, שכתוב ויברח יעקב שדה ארם, וברח לבד בלבדו. משה הלך לבד, ברח מפני עשיו לבד, רק הוא. משה ברח שכתוב, ויברח משה מפני פרעה, לבד, וברח בלבדו. דוד שברח, כל אלו שליטי הארץ וכל אלו גיבורי הארץ וראשי ישראל, כולם היו בורחים עמו, ומסובבים אותו מימינו משמאלו, לשמרו מכל הצדדים, כיוון שראה עצמו בשבח הזה, אמר שירה. כולם פגשו בבר הזה. So basically what I said in Hebrew was a song in the Psalms. It says Rabbi Yehuda in the Zohar says Mizmor LeDavid Baruchu Mipnei Avshalom Bano. That's a song. King David sings a song of praise, of a psalm of praise, singing when his son Avshalom is running after him to kill him. Why should he sing? He should be, he should be crying, whatever. His flesh and blood wants to kill him. It's an enemy, someone outside of the family, okay, it's one thing. It's bad enough, but your own flesh and blood, your own son, patricide, patricide's pretty horrible. So he says, no. He says, it's a kapara. It's an atonement. I did something wrong, even if he wasn't at fault. I guess David HaMelech was kind of at fault. He set the whole thing in motion. It's another story, but he did something to incur this, and he knows he needs to be punished for it. And Avshalom's coming along, even though he's a bad dude. David HaMelech is accepting upon himself that it's better to receive the punishment for whatever he did to deserve this in this world, and he's happy that he does it in this world, which is temporary, and not in the world to come, which is eternal, or at least a lot worse, if not eternal. Okay. Because maybe we're only out in the next world for a while and come back, so how could you say it's eternal? Anyhow, we don't believe in eternal damnation in Judaism. We believe in a certain period of time in the world to come, that unless we do everything right in this lifetime, then we don't come back. Then we're in the Olam Haba forever, back to the Kisei HaKavod, back uniting with God. It's only when we're naughty little boys and girls and we don't do everything we're supposed to do in this lifetime that we're punished by actually coming back to this world. So, but again, there's the Tom Rabbah. There's evil does actually go into the abyss, which is punishment forever, complete loss, avdon, shum davar, shum klum, absolutely nothing after one dies. And that's the evil goes there, and the good creates a wonderful energy, which we call perhaps heaven. It's a whole study. I don't understand it. I've never been there. It's just I'm trying to figure out what the Jewish belief is. So let's read a little bit more. I'm going to read from Danny Matt's translation a little bit. Let's see. Kufnan Aleph Amud Bet, that's 151. One more minute?
You're over time, but yeah.
Is it past 2?
Yeah. No.
Not
57.
Okay. So, Dr. Matt says the following. Rabbi Yehuda opened the Psalm of David when he fled from Psalm Absalom. Psalm 3, verse 1. Oh, it's back in Psalm 3. I didn't see it correctly. The companions have been aroused by this verse. The companions are the Chevraya of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai up in the Galil. The companions have been aroused by this verse, but a Psalm of David. Why did he say a song? His own son rose against him. He should have cried, sang a dirge, a lamentation. The Psalm of David, he uttered a song intentionally first because he thought the Blessed Holy One, the Kadosh Baruch Hu, deferred to sin, to that world. As soon as he saw that he wanted to collect his due from here, he rejoiced. Further, he saw that some in the world who were greater than he had fled. All of them alone. Jacob fled. It says Jacob fled to the land of Aram, all alone, in Hosea chapter 12. Moses fled. It says Moses fled from Pharaoh's presence in Exodus chapter 2, fleeing all alone. But when King David fled, all those rulers of the earth, all the mighty of the earth, all the chiefs of Israel fled along with him, surrounding him on the right and on the left, guarding him in every direction. Seeing such an honor, it inspired him to sing. That's why he says, and Psalm of David, when he fled from a psalm, Avshalom, Mizmor LeDavid bavarcho mipnei Avshalom beno. David thought that, Dr. Matt says, David thought that God had deferred punishment for his cardinal sin with Bathsheba, when he had a relationship with a married woman, Bathsheba. He saw, seeing Bathsheba bathing, David was attracted to her and slept with her. He then arranged for her husband, Uriah the Hittite, to die in battle, after which he married her. A big mistake. It started off a whole chain of punishment and going downward descent in the house of David. But then again, he made complete tshuva, and complete tshuva erased it. He paid his dues. So he said, I'm paying my dues by Avshalom chasing me to trying to kill me. As soon as he saw that he wanted to collect his due from him here, see Midrash Tilim, Dr. Matt says, quotes the Midrash, the righteous rejoice when he executes judgment upon them, for he cleanses them of their sins. Know that this is so, for in the attribute of judgment struck David, he began to rejoice and sang a psalm. So, 2:13, I don't know. So if you want to see more about David's flight from Avshalom, go to 2 Samuel, Shmuel Bet, Perek 15 v'Shvayaser. Shmuel, 2 Samuel, chapters 15 to 17. Have a wonderful day.